So, CIY coming up this June, or July this year, as you know. So one of the best parts of the camp is teaching, obviously. They put a ton of work into each sermon, each small group discussion, all that jazz, and it's always based around a theme. And this year the theme is broadcast, so I'm just going to read out what CIY themselves had to say about that theme. So they say the dictionary definition of parable, a usually fictitious story that illustrates a moral attitude or a religious principle. Also, something such as a news story or a series of real events, likened to a parable in providing an instructive example or lesson. They say Jesus came to earth with a message. His message was broadcast in many ways: conversations with his friends, sermons to the crowds, and miracles healing the hurting. Jesus also proclaimed his message through stories, tales with hidden meanings and deeper applications to life. Jesus' parables tell us so much about who he is and life in his kingdom. When we hear Jesus' stories, we're forever changed. Our lives are given purpose, meaning, and a mission. Changed lives become a broadcast about him to the world. So that's the theme, talking about all the different parables of Jesus, not just the popular ones, but even some of the more obscure ones, like what Chris mentioned today. And based on what I've seen so far, it's going to be really good. So, dates and locations this year, we're going to Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee, near Chattanooga, if you've been there. So this is the same place we went for Generate last summer, but this year it will be a CIY camp. So it's CIY as the organization, but the campus is the same one we went to Generate for. Wanted to go to Milligan, disappointed that we couldn't go, but it appears that the Milligan session has been entirely bought out by one church as a private event. That's a big church. So they have the whole thing as a private event, so we are going to Generate. But the bright side is, one, everybody gets AC. Nobody has to worry about being in web without air conditioning. B, we don't have to deal with Sutton Hill, the hill up the cafeteria. So none of that. So there are positives to this, along with the negatives. We'll also have a chance to explore sort of a new area on our extended rec day. Like 2 days we went to trampoline parks at Milligan. We'll have a chance to do something else. We'll see what we get up to there. Our dates for the event, there will be a cheat sheet at the end of this. Our dates are Monday, July 18th to Saturday, July 23rd. We're leaving on the morning of the 18th, checking in at the school that afternoon, and then leaving Lee on the morning of the 23rd. We'll be back at the church in the early afternoon, provided we don't have any transportation problems like we did back from TCTC. No surprise flat tires and all that jazz. Yeah, remember your dad? You don't remember that?
I remember that.
Your dad had a flat tire in the rain by himself?
Oh.
Yeah. It was bad. So anyway, as long as that doesn't happen, we should be back by the early afternoon. Transportation-wise, we have a 15-passenger van booked, so that'll hold the majority of our group, if not all of it. We'll have at least one luggage car going as well to carry the baggage, and anybody who gets car sick will ride up front with that person, because I've heard that the van is not conducive to car sick people. So yeah, depending on how many students decide to come, we may have to have a volunteer drive a second luggage car up. That would be a good problem to have, so hopefully we do have to do that, but we'll see. Chaperones. At the moment, we have 3 adult chaperones confirmed. Myself, Beatty, and B. Anderson will be spending the whole week there with the students. We would love to have one more adult with us, ideally a man, just to balance the numbers out. So we have 2 adult male leaders, 2 adult female leaders, but we're not going to be picky about that. So all chaperones have their registration covered by the youth ministry budget and will be reimbursed for any gas that they use. So if you are curious, if you want to go, let me know. Each chaperone has to go through a background check, and they have to learn the mandated report requirements for Tennessee, because legally all adults are legally mandated reporters there. So we'll have to check that out. I'll send it to you if you're curious. But yeah, if you are interested in going as a chaperone or just as a luggage driver, let me know. We'll get it all worked out, get you the details. So on to the fun part, which is money. So due to losing a year and a half's worth of income, CIY has had to increase prices for their registrations. It's unfortunate, but it's understandable for sure. That means that between registration and our van rental, the registration per student currently sits at $394 for the weekend, or for the week. In previous years, we've given a $100 like flat discount out of the youth ministry budget, but as you know, we've also had some budget cuts as well, so that's not possible this year. However, the elders and the board have been very generous in deciding that camp is such an important ministry that it will be one of the 2 recipients of our annual Easter offering. So that means the practical side of this for you guys is that no matter what, the price of registration will be less than $394. And if we meet our goal as a congregation, every student will be able to attend free of charge. This has happened before in our congregation, but this is not normal for a church to invest that much in a summer camp opportunity. So if you get a chance, definitely give thanks to the elders and the board for making that call. Obviously, I'd encourage everybody to give to that offering because it helps you and it helps other families as well. As soon as the offering is done, I'll update on how much we got in, how much payment is due, etc. Yeah, so due to the odd financial situation, it's probably going to be tough to commit to registration, but we need all the registrations in and finalized by a certain date in order to coordinate with the housing committee at Lee, travel plans, etc. So all registrations, which will be done online, will need to be in by Sunday, June 12th. It's about 2 months away from now, Sunday, June 12th. Registration will be done via Breeze again this year. I'm going to email out the link. I'll also send it on a remind text for everybody. So please fill that out ASAP if you know for sure that you're going. Since we don't know what the final cost will be, the registration itself will be free to register. Everyone who registers will get an additional payment form once the offering is cleared and we know how much that will be. Ideally, that will be nothing, so we'll see. And then last thing, as we dismiss, I've got copies of packing list and rules here for everybody, so come grab one, start getting prepared. This will also be emailed out to everybody who registers, so don't worry if you lose that. Yeah, thank you for coming to the meeting. Thank you for your interest in going to camp. It is by far the most influential and most important thing that we do as a youth ministry, I think. In terms of year-over-year impact, this is definitely the biggest one. So I really think it's the best choice for how to spend a week in that summer. If it comes down to going to practice or going to camp, I'm a youth pastor, but go to camp, honestly. Like Paul said explicitly, physical training is of some value, but spiritual training is useful for all things, right? So if we need to work something out with coaches and all that jazz, let me know, we'll figure it out, but I really think this is the priority. But of course I think that I'm the youth minister, so there's that. Please join me in praying for this week as we go through the next few months for the chaperones, for the students, their hearts will be open for what God has to teach them, and for those who are running the program. So, any questions? Alrighty, here's the 2 sheets. There's a cheat sheet with all